Well, hello, friend. Thank you so much for being with me this evening. I couldn't wait to get into my office tonight to have an opportunity to visit with you. Tonight's topic, dealing with discouragement. I want you to take a moment now and share this post with somebody that you know may be experiencing a discouraging season in their lives. Go ahead and take a moment, and while you do that, I'm going to simply review. It's been my honor to visit with you over the last couple of weeks. I'm responding in great measure from a lot of your replies and responses to the video, a video that featured my dad, who was a simple cook, a third grade dropout, but he was the wisest person I ever met in my life. And he taught me a lot of lessons. Probably the greatest lesson came at the casket of my wife when he taught me to stand. 3 words that changed my life. Son, just stand. I am mindful after reading so many of your comments that somebody needs to just hear that word of encouragement tonight, to keep standing, to don't quit, to don't give up. So we spent a couple of sessions together looking at what does it mean to stand. And remember, the very first step is to change our thinking. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right. And so your thinking actually informs your mouth what to say and what to speak. So we have to watch our thoughts, as Frank Outlaw taught us. Frank Outlaw is the source. Watch your thoughts. They determine your words, and your words determine your habits and your actions, and your actions determine your character, and your character really shapes your identity. It all starts with your thinking. And then one other step to standing is to make sure that we're declaring it every day. I will stand. So many of you from all over the world really encouraged me to keep standing. Standing isn't a one-time thing. Standing is an everyday thing, because in life, we're always challenged to quit, to give up, to throw in the towel. So every day we need to remind ourselves to stand. I say it out loud every day. I will stand, or some variation of that. It's very important to communicate that. And it's also important in standing to put yourself in a uncomfortable situation, to challenge yourself, to grow, to do anything you can to move forward. Great change, even simple change, does not occur unless we're in some way uncomfortable. Then a couple of days ago, we talked about disappointment. Disappointment's tough. It is really tough when what you have expected doesn't actually pan out, and you're left with the residue. And I think, as I mentioned on Monday night, that in the short term, disappointment has positive value, because it's forcing you to go over the scenario over and over and over and over and over again. And what this does is it forces you to face reality, forces you to evaluate the situation, forces you to ask some questions. And here are a couple of questions I like to ask myself when going through a disappointing situation. Rick, were you true to your values? Did you stay true to who you are? Did you fulfill your purpose? And did you do your best? Did you stay true to your values? Did you stay true to who you are? Did you fulfill whatever purpose that you have in life? And did you do your best? And if I can say yes to all of those questions, it reshapes my perspective and helps me to deal with the disappointment. Remember the words of Henry David Thoreau. If we will be quiet and ready enough, we shall find compensation in every single disappointment. And remember, here is the strategy that I want all of us to try to live by. When disappointment comes, we look for opportunity. I learned that from that third grade dropout. When disappointment comes, you look for an opportunity. If disappointment lingers on and on, the consequences can be devastating. It can cause doubt. It can cause depression. It can cause discouragement. Discouragement is nothing more than a sense of loss, a loss of confidence, a loss of enthusiasm. We all get discouraged from time to time. You know what I'm finding that's really interesting? That your comments are mirroring life for so many of us. I will see or read a comment from someone that will say, I'm discouraged. And I have the same experience. I was really discouraged a day or so ago. And what I'm telling you isn't something that I don't do myself. And so I oftentimes will think back to the simple lessons I learned from my dad, who was always discouraged, but immediately dealt with the discouragement. Discouragement means I'm no longer encouraged. I temporarily am fearful of something. I temporarily don't have any courage. Happens to every one of us. So the question becomes, how do I regain my courage? How do I deal with that fear? How do I encourage myself? Here's a critical thought. I want you to think about this. I spent way too many years expecting other people to encourage me. Way too many years expecting family members, money, opportunities, situations, material things to encourage me, always let down. I learned a simple lesson from a third grade dropout. Son, yes, Daddy, stop expecting other people to do for you what you ought to do for yourself. Encourage yourself, just like David in the Psalms. Just like many people who somehow are able to rise above simply being in a state of constant fear. We have a choice. I really believe that Ralph Waldo Emerson said it best. He said the only person that matters in your life is the person that you decide to be. The only person that matters in your life is the person you decide to be, the person you choose to be. So now, let me go back 21 years. I am discouraged. And money can't help, friends can't help, situations can't help, possessions can't help, material things cannot help. Can anybody relate to what I'm saying? My job status can't help, my position in life can't help, my social standing can't help. I am discouraged. You know what I'm fearing? An empty life. I'm fearing an unfulfilled life. I'm fearing living lonely. I'm fearing never having a wife again. I'm fearing my boys going through life damaged. I'm fearing all sorts of things. First thing I have to do is think about my fear. Is it realistic? I mean, it's real. And for me, it was very realistic. So I answered that. Yes, it's a realistic fear. I've just lost my wife. I am discouraged. I have no enthusiasm. My confidence has been shaken. So what do? Here's what the third grade dropout taught me. You have to commit to some need that pushes you forward. It's so simple, but hard to do. You have to commit. Think about this. Son, just stand. Unpack that. Commit to a need that pushes you forward, so no matter how you're feeling, your commitment supersedes that feeling. So I said to myself, I can remember saying it. It was about a month or two after Trina passed away. By the way, that was the hardest period in my life because the flowers have faded by now. The phone stops ringing. The well-wishers are going on with their job. The cards stop coming and you're stuck and you don't know how to get out of neutral. And I remember saying, I have to find a need greater than me, greater than my pain, that I can commit to that will somehow push me forward. I remember this. It was October, November 1996, and I identified as my need my survival for the sake of my boys. That was it. That was my purpose. I was going to commit to my survival because I couldn't just cash it in. I had to be a mama and a daddy. I had to commit to a need that would help me deal with the fear of moving on, that would help me deal with discouragement. So I committed to the survival for the sake of my boys. I want you to listen carefully to the words of Napoleon Hill. Wrote a great book years ago titled Think and Grow Rich. Here's the bottom line to save several paragraphs. He was commissioned by steel magnate Andrew Carnegie to go to all of Carnegie's rich friends and ask for their secrets with regard to wealth. But here's the genius of what Napoleon Hill found. In every successful person, he found a couple of variables. Number one, they never gave up despite failure. But listen to this one. Number two, he found in every single case one thing. He found this. He said, every one of those successful rich people had a singleness of purpose and a burning desire to accomplish that purpose. Let me say it again. Every successful person, despite discouragement, despite failure, despite setback, had a singleness of purpose and a burning desire to accomplish that purpose. I want to tell you something. When you commit to your need that will push you past your fear to a greater encouragement, when you commit to that singleness of purpose, survival for the sake of my sons, and you accompany that with a burning desire, a consuming desire, an all-day desire, a nothing gets in my way desire to accomplish that goal, there is no force on this earth that will hold you down. I want to say those words again from Napoleon Hill. He said every success story, every single one of those individuals had a singleness of purpose and a burning desire to accomplish that purpose. Friend, I want to tell you something. Please listen to me. When we're in a state of discouragement, we have to face what it is that's discouraging us, that's taking away our courage, that's causing us to fear. And then we must commit to the point that our commitment will supersede and override even our feelings. Left to my feelings, I'm going to stay in discouragement. I just am. It's a lot easier to remain discouraged. But what if I can find a need to commit to, a singleness of purpose that will drive a burning passion inside my soul to accomplish it? For months after Trina passed away, my singleness of purpose was to survive for the sake of being a good parent to those boys, to survive for the sake of hopefully sharing some kind of healing moments every day with those boys. I want to tell you, friend, no matter where you are tonight, no matter what country you're in, no matter what time it is, if you are discouraged, may I please encourage you, find a need that you will commit to tonight. Make that your singleness of purpose and develop a burning desire to accomplish that purpose. You know what? Your situation may not change, but your thinking about that situation will be challenged to change. Until we meet again, friend, be blessed. I'll talk to you soon.